Welcome back to another Sister Scoop where we are giving you guys all of the Marvel news for the past week, or I guess not all of it, but a good chunk of it from the past week in around or at least 10 minutes. And we're going to get right into it with Venom, shockingly, not technically a Marvel movie, Sonyverse, of course. But rumors are surrounding it saying that Venom is going to be the connecting piece to all the Sonyverse movies, aka what we thought Madam Web was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is both surprising and not surprising. Having Venom do the crossover now twice, technically, in two different end credit scenes, I think he is the character who, other than Tom and Spider-Man himself, makes the most sense to have that crossover. So, I mean, look, I didn't love Venom 2, but I liked the first one. I am mildly excited for the third one. Like there is a sense of hope there.
Yeah.
It's the only one that's like a sequel in this whole Sony year slate that we're getting. So I'm cool with it. I feel like if they were gonna lean on anyone, I'm glad it's Tom Hardy and Venom. I feel like that's their strongest property that they've put out so
For
far. So
sure.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of mirror exactly what you just said. If they're going to lean on anybody, it makes sense for it to be Venom. I will never forget the first movie because it was a slam dunk. I know we've drowned in Sony movies pretty much ever since, but they really did come out of the gates initially with the first Venom, and it was amazing. Like everybody was talking about it. So I'm cautiously optimistic as well. I've been saying that if Sony doesn't start connecting movies soon, we're going to have a huge problem. And I think
Oh
they're
yeah.
going to see even more of a decrease in viewership. And just, again, I've talked about a lot of their audience is based off of the MCU audience, and they're losing us very, very quickly and in droves. So I am also cautiously optimistic. And I think we can leave it at that because, again, this is a rumor. Seems like a positive one, though. I would say it's likely the direction they're going to go.
Agreed. Let's move on to the second one.
Well, we're going to stay in that realm then for the second one. This one I think is a lot more exciting for us to talk about. It's being said on the internet, on the great, great internet, that Spider Man 4, Tom Holland's Spider Man 4, will begin shooting this fall.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a big deal for a few reasons. We've talked about this in, I think, past Sister Scoop episodes where Sony and Marvel have kind of been going back and forth on the type of story that this film is. And knowing that, I think in September, October is kind of the time frame that I've been seeing online. Knowing that that is only, I mean, we're about to hit April, math, 5 or 6 months away. That means they at least have probably aligned on a story or at least a direction that they're going to work on in pre-pro for the next few months, nail down, and be ready by the time that they go. So that at least is exciting that they have been able to work out their differences. I'm a little nervous to understand who won that particular battle
I
because
have
the
an
soul of
idea.
Spider-Man. I mean, yes, but also the soul of Spider-Man is on the line, so like I'm very nervous. There's a lot on the line here.
Fair.
But also then thinking about what this means for the larger timeline and the larger slate, right? Because we've talked a lot about, well, things need to happen for other things to happen. This would mean it would be after Daredevil, which we all kind of expected, but likely before Secret Wars, which seems important. And I think that's something that immediately when I saw that, I was like, oh, so this is going to come a lot sooner than we all kind of expected based on where they had been talking. And that's something to note because that's really, really important.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a pin in that last section because that's kind of going to segue us right into our final news thing for the day. But I am more so shocked at how quickly it seems to be happening, only because, and you brought up the debate, Sony versus Marvel talking about grounded, or I should say, going in line with them, talking about multiversal versus more grounded. Of course, we are not just because we prefer Marvel, but just because we have a better feeling of what direction we think the character should go. We are pro ground level. We do think that that's the way the character should be going. Kingpin, all of that. I'm shocked at how quickly this decision's actually been made because I feel like this debate's been going back and forth, at least that we've been seeing for a couple weeks. I expected Sony to put up more of a fight. I assume Marvel probably won. I'm going to be honest.
I think honestly, they lost a lot of credibility after Madam Web. Like, I think any
Yeah.
leverage that they might have had saying, we can do a successful multiversal film because we've built this universe with these other characters. I think they lost any argument or any stance in that argument when that movie became a meme. So, that didn't help, I think.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, listen, I'm not writing off the possibility that they came to a compromise. I think the movie as a whole could be very ground level, and all it takes is an end credit or two of
Agreed.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man turning around, and there's Doctor Strange like, "Hey, friend." He'll be like, "I don't actually know who you are, but I have memories of you, and I need you," or something. Like, it's going to be somebody showing up, kind of thing. So maybe they did have some sort of compromise. I'm not going to say that it's not possible to have multiversal elements. We are in the multiversal saga here. I feel like it'd be wrong to say Sony didn't get any of it, but I don't expect an Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire showing up in this movie at all.
No, agreed. I think that would be overkill. We've been there. We've done it. It was awesome. Let's not try to recreate magic.
Exactly.
Let's just leave it alone.
Exactly. So I do think there could have been a great compromise, though. As long as Marvel's steering the ship, I'm excited. I think we're fine. But you kind of brought up Secret Wars. And I think this kind of takes us exactly into our last news point here. And it's kind of double. It's two things at once. It's Cap 4 and Avengers 5 because lots of things are coming around from Cap 4 that the end credits are going to start setting up our next Avengers team, which will then be seen in Avengers 5, as we all know, no longer named King Dynasty.
Yeah, I think there were a few things that came out of this that I was really excited and intrigued about, but also like we kind of called this a couple years ago. So go back to our Who Are the Leaders of the Next Avengers episode because there's some parallels there.
Oh, for
Just
sure.
saying.
Yeah.
But basically, what we were seeing online is that it's going to be Sam and it's going to be Bruce who are like really the linchpins for bringing everybody together in this new roster. And that 3 movies in particular are going to really help get us to Avengers 5 in the same way. If you think all the way back to phase 1, that we had Iron Man, we had the first Avenger, and we had Thor setting us up for the first Avengers in 2012. We didn't really meet many of the other characters. I mean, the Incredible Hulk aside and some cameos aside, the other characters didn't get their own films before they were in the Avengers original 2012 Avengers. That is so hard. I get why they called it the Avengers, but also it's like such a tongue twister.
You definitely struggled a little bit there, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's so hard for me. Me and names, like we don't go together like PB and J.
No, I know.
But anyway, so the 3 films that are really gonna pave the way for Avengers 4, according to the latest rumors, are Cap 4, Spidey 4, and Shang-Chi 2. And the reason I brought up our Who's Gonna Lead the Avengers episode is those were 3 people that we called out as leaders of the future Avengers team. So again, this is a rumor. It's not substantiated in any way, not confirmed. We don't know. Obviously, nobody's seen Cap 4 yet, so that is completely nebulous in terms of what that actually looks like. But there are some exciting updates that, if they're true, means we were kind of on the money a couple years ago.
Which, good for us, first off.
I know. I love it when we do that.
I mean, I'm not going to say we're never right, because we definitely have gotten so much better at it. But
for sure,
we've had some really bad ones, too.
We definitely have had some left field theories that were revealed to be left field theories.
Yeah. And I'm not going to bring up some of your worst ones, because you've had some really bad ones.
I don't appreciate that you're singling me out right now, so move along.
Okay. Either way, that's kind of why I said let's put a pin in what you were saying for Spidey 4, because of that exact thing. That's been named as one of those with Cap 4 and now Shang-Chi 2 as well, that are really going to be those big ones leading into Avengers 5. I'm not shocked at the Cap 4, Sam Wilson being that character. Keep in mind, guys, he is one of the last remaining OGs, if you will. He came into this universe in 2014, Winter Soldier, and he has been here since. He has a show. He's been in pretty much all the big movies at this point. He is a consistent character, and of course, he's freaking Captain America now, so let's not forget that. I am not shocked that he's going to be that point that starts everything. I'm excited for him. I'm ready for his universe to start, really. And again, it's a rumor, but I'm putting my money on it because I don't see it going another way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you move forward with the Avengers without it shaping up in this way. Just thinking about who are the characters that people are really gravitating towards, since the end of Infinity War and Endgame. I think Sam comes out on top. People love Shang-Chi. His movie is definitely one that's considered one of the tops in the post Endgame era. And of course, Tom. I mean, how are you ever going to leave Spider-Man, regardless of what happened at the end of his film? How are you ever going to leave Spider-Man out of that conversation? So I think it logically just makes the most sense. And if this is how Avengers 5 shapes up, I think it's way more exciting to me than anything Kang Dynasty was going to be. So I'm all here for it.
Totally agree. And with that, we are, as usual, a little over time with this week's Sisters Scoop, but no worries, guys. Stick around next week for another round of Marvel news. And of course, always be listening to our podcast episodes as well. See ya.